Michael, okay? I am a director of studies and teacher here at Aztecs, okay? I've been here for almost 7 years in Aztecs, and I've been in Spain for 11 years, okay? And, well, I like languages, as you guys know, so today we're going to be talking about a specific part of the language, which is meetings, okay? Because I've had several meetings in Spanish and not very many in English in my life. More of my meetings, I think, have been in Spanish. So I learn a lot of vocabulary in Spanish, and I have to learn it later in English. And we're going to see some of this today, okay? But anyway, we're going to start with meetings. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so you guys can see the PowerPoint. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started either way, all right? As you know, I always have 3 objectives for you guys. I want to say something, kind of a disclaimer. In one of my previous webinars, we talked about video calls, and video calls are a type of meeting, okay? So we looked at a lot of meeting vocabulary in the video call webinar. Today, I want to focus on different vocabulary for meetings, okay? I want to focus on some phrasal verbs, okay? Some expressions, all right? And also some idioms. These are the things that I like to give you guys. I like to give you idioms, expressions, phrasal verbs, all right? And I will ask for a lot of participation, all right? As much participation as I can possibly get, because it will be very welcome, all right? Welcome, Beatriz. I see we have a Beatriz and we have a Bea. Okay, well, good. So welcome back to another webinar. All right, so I want to start with a little translation game, okay? So these are some typical things in Spanish that relate to meetings, but sometimes we don't know how to say them in English correctly because, you know, they're quite different, all right? So I'm going to show you the first one. So to say agendar, how would we say that in English? How do you say agendar? Anybody know? You can put it in the chat if you want. You can guess. Bea, you should know. In the case of Bea, I think you would know. You should remember. If you attended part of the other webinar, you should remember this one. Nobody. You guys are shy today. Okay, I'll give you the first one. All right, we would talk about scheduling something. So we put something in a schedule, we schedule it. You know, in fact, agendar doesn't exist in Spanish, but it's used. But technically, according to the Real Academia, it doesn't exist, okay? All right, what about convocar una reunión? How would we say that in English? Convocar una reunión. We have several ways to say it. You guys can tell.
Michael, can you see the chat?
Now I can see it. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, I wasn't seeing the chat and nothing showed up on my screen. Now I'm seeing it. Okay, perfect, 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 good. All right, you said schedule. Okay, good. Sorry, guys, sorry. I said that's very strange. Normally, you guys know me. You've been to many webinars. You participate a lot. And now, yeah, you're very active and I couldn't see anything. So sorry. Yes, good. Okay. So I have the chat here now. I can see it. For some reason, it wasn't letting me open the chat, and it showed me that nobody was using the chat. So, all right, convocar. Yes, you could say to arrange a meeting. That's perfect. I like that. We can say convene a meeting. Okay, that's very formal. That's why I have a little asterisk there. Okay, and you can actually call a meeting. I would normally say arrange a meeting. Okay, that's the best one for you to use, but you have other options. Okay, we also have orden del día. What is the orden del día? Yes. Here we have the agenda, okay? This is the agenda. If you saw my talk about common mistakes and false friends, agenda was one of them, right? So here, an agenda is for a meeting, okay? Next one, I just gave you the answer. Anyway, el acta. We say minutes. Yes, you saw it on the screen accidentally. I went too fast. All right, this one usually relates to a meeting because we're talking about things that you have to do. Yeah, the deadline, the fecha límite. The asunto. El asunto de la reunión de hoy es, how do we say it? Any ideas? Now you're quiet. Now everybody's quiet. Bea, do you remember? Maybe Jaime knows. Maybe Beatriz knows. I don't know. We would talk about the subject, okay? The subject of the meeting. Good, yeah? All right. So we've got those out of the way, a little bit of translation, okay? Now I want to go to some phrasal verbs. Today is going to be a lot like this, a lot of participation. I'm going to put words, and you guys have to tell me what they mean. One important thing I talk about a lot is the fact that in Spanish, obviously Spanish is a Romance language, meaning it came from Latin. It came from vulgar Latin. Vulgar Latin sounds really awful, but it's not meaning it's vulgar, but it's the Latin that was spoken in all of the different parts of the Roman Empire, okay? So that's where Spanish came from. Obviously, in Spanish, not everything, sorry. Most things have a Latin root. You also have Arabic roots, okay? But Spanish students tend to use the Latin version of everything, okay? And in English, it's much more common to use the Germanic root, okay? So I'm going to show you the more Latin root here, okay? And I want you to tell me the phrasal verb. The phrasal verbs are always, not always, but normally Germanic roots, okay? The idea of a phrasal verb is Germanic completely. But sometimes we have Latin-based words that are used, okay? For example, use up. Use is a Latin-based word. You say use something up. That's a phrasal verb. Anyway, I can go on and on and on talking about phrasal verbs all day, but let's talk about phrasal verbs specific for meetings. So the first one, if we want to advance a meeting, so if we have a meeting for next Friday and we want to advance it to next Monday, how do we say that? I'm sure you guys have heard this before. It's very common when we're talking about meetings, scheduling things. Okay, often meetings, we have to talk a lot about scheduling. Okay, yes, you can say to move it forward, but normally I would say to bring it forward, but both are fine. Both are perfectly fine, yeah? You bring something forward or you move it forward. Good. To postpone, the opposite. So we have the meeting next Friday, but we can't do it, so we're going to do it the following Friday. How do we say that? To put it off, yeah. Postpone is to put something off. Now, I say to you, I say, note what I'm saying. Note, not in the case of notar. Don't think of notar. I'm talking note, meaning write a note. How do we say that in English? We have a phrasal verb for that. Very good, Irene. And very good, Jaime. We can say to write down, or if it's something quick, I showed you this phrasal verb a few weeks ago, you jot it down. It's a very quick note, okay? Write down is a note in general. You jot down is a quick note, okay? All right, what about to review? I know we've seen this one as well. If you've been to other webinars of mine, remember we keep repeating things. I have a webinar. I mentioned before, there's a webinar on common mistakes. If you didn't see that webinar, you can go to our corporate hub and you can look at it in the previous webinars, the recording, okay? The same. I have another one about phrasal verbs. You can watch the one about phrasal verbs. Some of these will be a review for you, okay? How do we say to review something? If I say we're going to review these points in the meeting, what would I say as a phrasal verb here? We're going to review a few points. I wouldn't say review a few points unless I was in an, you know, we're going to look over. Yeah, we could say to look over a few things. I like that, but I was looking for something we'd say which is even more common, which would be to go over. You could say look over, that's fine. But always say, we're going to go over these 3 points in the meeting, okay? When you're talking about the agenda, we're going to go over this, this, and that, okay? We would use advance, postpone, note, review, almost never, okay? Postpone maybe a bit more. Unless you're talking, if it's very formal like legal English, I hate legal English. I'll be honest with you, I hate legal English because I don't speak legal English. It's like another language for me. So for me, I hate legal English. Good, somebody else hates it as well. Thank you, Irene. I hate legal English. I hate legal Spanish. For me, it's another language. It's a language that only a few people speak. Legal English is a language spoken by lawyers, judges, people working, you know, in law firms. These are the people that speak it, nobody else. And this type of vocabulary for me sounds very legal. It sounds way too formal, okay? This formality, this overly formal, these things that are from centuries and centuries ago, it's not my style. But I recognize if you're a lawyer or a judge or whatever, it's very important. But for most of you, you're working in companies and you need to know phrasal verbs. You need this more colloquial vocabulary, okay? Because even if it's a very important meeting, people are going to use phrasal verbs. You're never going to get away from phrasal verbs, okay? Cancel. How do we say to cancel something in phrasal verb form? Good, Jaime, to call off, yeah? You call something off. Now, here I mean fix, but meaning fijar algo. I'm talking fijar, establecer. I could have put established there, okay? I put fix because to put in your mind that it's very Latin, okay? Not fix in the case of arreglar, but fix meaning, this one's used a lot, I would say to set up, okay? Can we set up a phone call? Can we set up a meeting, okay? What about talking about introducing a topic? He introduced that topic last meeting. Very good, Jaime. You're bringing it up. You're bringing up a topic, okay? Good. Now, really quickly, I want to look at some vocabulary for delegating tasks. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I was thinking the other day, I was thinking of things that happen in meetings. And normally in meetings, you talk about many things and you get more work. You get more accumulation of work. And so in the meeting, your boss or the chair of the meeting is delegating a lot of tasks, okay? So we would use these types of words, okay? So I might say, Irene, can you take care of the proposal? I might say, Beatriz, can you deal with the budget, all right? Your financials, so can you deal with the budget? And I might say, Bea and Angelica, can you work out the details for the event next week, okay? Work something out, normally it's together, okay? Could you work that out with this person, okay? Could you deal with something? Could you take care of something? These are typical when you're delegating, when you're asking someone to do something, okay? But a way to reply, you could say, yes, I'm on it, okay? I'm doing it, I'm on it. No worries, boss, I'm on it, okay? I can handle it. Yeah, I can handle that. Give me more work. That's no problem, okay? Or if we're working on a team, yes, we'll get it sorted, okay? So these are very important to remember because we use these a lot, okay? Take care of something, deal with something, all right? You can say, instead of deal with, you can say handle something as well, okay? All right. Oh, good, we have another, even, I think one more participant. This is fantastic. We have 6 participants today. Good, good. Okay, the next one. Welcome, Micaela. All right. Other words that you may hear, these are words that I've heard in Spanish and I had no idea what they were. Maybe I eventually understood them in context, but I didn't know how to say them in English. And these are just strange words that came up in many meetings that I had when I started working in a company, okay? So, I want to see if you guys know some of these words. We're going to do a little bit of translation here, okay? So, we've got the first word, which is subsanar. This is kind of a difficult one. I don't know if anybody knows it. Bea, do you remember it from Tuesday? Maybe depending on the context, it could be. But I was going to give you one which I would use much more when we're talking about maybe making it balanced, making something balanced. I mean, subsanar, to kind of minimize the bad effects, to offset, yeah? To offset something. So if we save money here, we might offset the costs of something else, you know? It might help the budget. Okay, punto de partida. How would we say that? Punto de partida. Any idea? said a bit differently. We have the same words in English, but we put them in a different order. We say starting point, okay? Not the point of starting, but the starting point. So we might be in a meeting when you say, okay, the starting point is this, this, and this, okay? That's where we're going to start from. The starting point will be when we implement this action, okay? The kickoff is more for, I would use kickoff for kind of a new event, okay? So if you're working in like marketing, the kickoff, you know, we're talking about an event or something that's going to be happening a lot, okay? So you would say, the kickoff is going to be next Saturday, okay? And then every Saturday, you're going to have another one, okay? Cribar. Any idea? No? You could say filter, yeah. I want to teach you another phrasal verb here, though. I would say to narrow something down. I would say to narrow something down, okay? Another good phrasal verb, this one's a phrasal verb as well, desglosar. We use this a lot when we're talking about meetings. And me, for example, I do this a lot when I write emails. I want to make sure my emails are very clear in lots of different categories and everything's very clear. We would say to break something down, okay? So when I write my emails, I like to break things down. So I write emails to my team of teachers, and I break down the things that need to be done, okay? I try to make it bullet points, everything very nice, so it's easier to read. So a lot of times we break something down. We might break something down in a meeting, explain it in more detail, or explain it a bit better. This one would probably be for a brainstorming meeting, but I thought it would be interesting to hear because I've heard this in many brainstorming meetings, okay? People say, es que tengo una idea muy descabellada, and they go on and on and on. So, descabellado, what could you say in English? I mean, it's crazy, yeah, but we have another expression, which is harebrained. Harebrained is liebre, like the rabbit, you know, or it's a hare, H-A-R-E. So they say harebrained is supposedly a crazy idea, okay? So you say, I have a harebrained idea. You're in a brainstorming meeting and you say, I have a harebrained idea. Okay, cuadro de mando. I'm pretty sure you guys have to use, maybe in your companies, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure. This is something I didn't even know it existed in English. But we're talking about a cuadro de mando with all of the information. Very good, a dashboard. I'm sure maybe in some of your companies that you work for, you might even just say dashboard in English directly, okay? We call it a cuadro de mando. By the way, if you want more details on explaining a dashboard, we do have another webinar. I know I'm recommending a lot of webinars, but I've done so many things over the past few months that it's good. If you haven't seen it, I did a webinar on reporting results, okay? Giving results, and so in a dashboard, you're giving results, okay? Very good. This one might be or might not be easy. Junta directiva. Talking about a company. So you know, you might be talking about this in a meeting. The people who are in charge. What do you call them? Very good. Yes. Good, Beatriz. Good, Irene. Yeah, we would say the board of directors or the board directly. Yes. All right. Dirección. It is not direction. You don't say direction here. I would never say direction. Direction for me is north, south, east, west. What direction? No. No, no, no. I'm talking dirección de empresa. La dirección. Dirección ha pedido, desde dirección han pedido que hagamos tal, tal y tal. Very close, Jaime, but we would say management. Directly, we call it management, okay? And this is one more I like, okay? Which is encaminado. You want something to be encaminado. How do we say that? Encaminado. We have an expression with two words, okay? Of course, encaminado could be focused, But there's something else that I like to use, which is on track, okay? If something is on track, is your project on track? Is it going where it needs to be going, or what should be going? Yeah? Okay. All right. Then we get into what I call managing the meeting, okay? So when you have to kind of control certain elements, you're managing. And I love this picture because it's that typical picture where everyone's looking at you like, okay, it's your turn to talk. You're the chair. Tell us what we need to do, okay? So you're imagining you're the chair of the meeting and they want you to say something, okay? So if you're managing a meeting, you managing or chairing a meeting, I should have probably put chairing a meeting, okay? It's your job to make sure people don't talk very much. I don't know about you guys, but in your meetings, I'm talking about meetings in general, whether they be in English or Spanish, I think a lot of it is a waste of time and many people speak just to speak. And it's the role of a chair in the meeting is very, very important because the chairperson is the person who is trying to get people to shut up and to go to the next point and really, you know, and so you might say, okay, if no one else, or well, no one else, if nobody has anything else to add, let's go on to the next item, okay? It's to move along. Let's keep going, okay? We're running out of time, so let's move on. Let's continue, okay? You might hand it over, and look at this. I use the word Beatriz because I always have a Beatriz in all of my webinars. So I use the word Beatriz. I guess I'd like to imagine that I'm handing the rest of the webinar over to Beatriz or this next point. So I would say, I'm handing it over, all right? I'm giving her the floor. I'm going to make her be the new chair, okay? She's going to be the co-chair. I'm handing it over to Beatriz, and she's going to talk about the next point in the meeting, or the next point on the agenda, remember, okay? And a lot of times in meetings, you have people that get really off topic, you know? They start talking about something that's not related. You have the agenda, and you want to stick to the agenda. I'm going to put that in the chat, because we talk about sticking to the agenda. All right. We want to stick to the agenda. So we don't want to get off topic. All right. We want to be on track. Again, the same word, on track. All right. And you might even say, okay, getting back to the subject. Okay. Because we're looking at asunto, we're looking at the subject. All right. Good. I'll continue. It's very important as well to ask people for their opinions in a meeting. Okay. So I'm going to give you some expressions for asking for opinions, okay? What would you say, guys? How would you ask for someone's opinion in a meeting? Anybody have an idea of a phrase that you would say? You can tell me in the chat. No ideas? Okay, I'll give you guys some ideas, okay? I might just simply say, what does everyone think about, or what do you all think about, making it inclusive, okay? What do you all think about meeting vocabulary? Okay, what do you all think about? I'd like to have your input on the phrasal verbs that I just covered with you, okay? What is your position? What are your views on this, on that, okay? I might even, you know, if one person is giving their views and not everybody else, I might say, okay, well, thank you very much, but what does everyone else think, you know? Not to just have one opinion. You always have someone in a meeting who's very dominant, and they're going to talk, talk, talk. But, you know, I don't know. I'm usually not very dominant in meetings. I'm usually quiet. I'm thinking, okay, is this meeting over yet? In my case. But anyway, but I talk when I need to talk. I'm not very shy either, but I don't feel that I need to talk all the time. Okay, but it's important. If you are chairing a meeting, I don't have to chair very many, but sometimes I do. And I have to, you know, really get, as a teacher, actually, I have to play this role, you know, I have to play this role of chair and getting everybody to participate. But you know, you're getting one person speaking all the time, so you start saying, okay, what does everyone else think, okay? Are there any other comments? Or you might go directly to somebody. I might say, Jaime, what do you think about? Because you're being very quiet today, Jaime, so I'm going to say, what do you think about this, okay? Or I'd say, would you like to add anything, Angelica? Okay, good. These are asking for opinions, but we can give opinions. We can be very strong, we can be neutral, or we can give kind of a very weak opinion on something, okay? So if you want to show that you have a strong conviction for something you really believe in, okay, you would say, I'm positive that this, and that, okay? I'm convinced. And this one I like even more. I have no doubt whatsoever, okay? So if you're very sure of something and you have your opinion and you're not going to change, you say these things, okay? If it's more general, you would use the things you've heard all of your life. But I want you to learn how to use strong opinions, guys, because sometimes we believe things are very strong. So you would say, I'm positive that, I have no doubt whatsoever that, okay? These are the typical ones. I think, I believe, I feel, in my opinion, from my point of view, okay? And then we have some that are a bit weaker, all right? So, well, it seems to me that, or it's possible that, or I tend to think, okay? But you don't have this strong conviction, okay? It's your opinion, but you don't seem like it could be changed easily, okay? All right, good. As always, I like to include idioms, okay? Idioms in this case related to meetings, all right? Things that you're going to use in meetings. In the video calls webinar, which again you can see on our corporate hub, you can see the recording. We used a lot of meeting idioms, okay, especially for starting the meeting. But I'm going to give you some other idioms related to meetings, okay? So if I say to do something by the book, what does that mean? If we want to do something by the book, what does that mean? You guys heard this expression before? Pretty much, yeah, to do something the right way, yeah? It's when you do something the right way. I don't know if you know, Angelica, but all of your messages are private. They're not coming up in the public chat. So you can click there on everybody. No worries, no worries. Sometimes it happens to me. I think I'm writing to everybody in the chat, and I'm only writing to one person. And I'm saying, do you see what I'm writing? And only one person says yes, and the other people say, no, I don't see anything. And I realize this happens a lot with Zoom. Yes, by the book is to follow the rules. But what is the opposite of by the book? We have a really good idiom to talk about the opposite, you know? So in a meeting or in business in general, these idioms are really business idioms. We should be doing things by the book. You guys, we need to do things by the book. But sometimes we don't. We tend to cut corners, okay? We cut corners. We don't do it the right way. You know, instead of walking straight, we just kind of cut and we do it the way we need to, okay? All right. Now, this one, between a rock and a hard place. When would we need to talk about being between a rock and a hard place? Any ideas? Well, yes, in Spanish, that's the thing, but yes, it's entre la espada y la pared, but why would you use it in a meeting? How would you explain that in English? I want you to explain it in English. I know I like to use translation with you guys, but sometimes I have to say, no, it's the same in Spanish. Tell me, explain it to me in English. Why would you use that? No idea. Okay, it's when you're in a really difficult situation, you have no solution, right? Good. You don't have any choices. You don't have, like, both solutions are bad. Very good. Thank you. Yes. All right. When would we say back to square one? Back to square one. When could we say that? To start? Yeah, to start again. It's when we start something again. We go back to the beginning, okay? What if I say that we're all on the same page? What could that mean? I say, yeah, I think we're all on the same page here. I think you've heard this before. Not the same situation. That's something a bit different, and we're gonna see that in a moment. Yeah, we agree. To be on the same page means agree with somebody, okay? Which is similar to the same situation, but not really. Same situation is something completely different. So you have the same position, yes. You agree with somebody, but think of it as agree. I'm on the same page. This next one is the exact same. If we see eye to eye, means that we agree. We see the same, everything in the same way, okay? We use these. By the way, I teach you idioms that we use a lot, okay? If I feel that an idiom is something that you're not going to use, I'm not going to teach it to you, okay? These are idioms that we use a lot in business English. Now, here's where we would talk about being in the same situation. We're in the same boat, and usually it's a difficult situation. We say, yeah, we're in the same boat, okay? So thank you guys very much for participating again, for coming back, and being my good students that you are, okay? So have a good weekend, and I hope to see you on Thursday next week, okay? Or have a good weekend and a good week. Good things can happen in the week too. I think we always think about weekends as the only good time of the week, but during the week, we can have fun and good things can happen. Okay, well, see you guys later, okay? Have a good weekend. Bye.